Iowa's caucus is the first major contest for candidates looking to be on the ballot against President Obama coming this fall.
307 days until Election Day. Start counting, folks. Joining us now is someone who's going to be tracking this election with us all the way. Marquette Law Professor Charles Franklin. Thanks for being with us today.
Good to be here.
Why is Iowa so important? Why is this caucus so important?
Two reasons. It's first, but also because the candidates treat it as important. Now, it really goes back to Jimmy Carter in 1976 when he, little-known, unknown governor from Georgia, moved to Iowa, basically, spent all of his time there. He actually finished second behind uncommitted, but it launched his campaign and got him the notoriety to then ride into New Hampshire and on. And so really that is the critical point. A lot of people say that Iowa is also the place where the winnowing begins, where we start to discover who's a significant candidate and who really doesn't look like they're ready for the top game. I think that's been true this year. Though if you look back recently, most of the Iowa candidates have nevertheless limped on to South Carolina at least, and I think that may happen this year as well.
And so how often does the winner of Iowa become the eventual nominee?
You know, it's about a 50-50 split. I think there are only 3 Iowa winners since the 70s that have gone on to win the presidency. It's by no means a sure thing that if you win Iowa, you go on to get the nomination, let alone win the presidency. But if you finish 5th or 6th, your odds are not so good, though John McCain was an exception to that last time. Of course, he didn't campaign there, which is the other way that candidates duck out of Iowa, is to say, well, I didn't try.
He came in 4th, I think, last time. So what should we watch for tonight when the results start coming in?
You know, I think if you look at where the polls are right now, Romney's in first place by a little bit, and then it looks like a real toss-up between Santorum and Ron Paul, and then Newt Gingrich a fairly distant 4th place. So if we see anything different from that lineup, that's an interesting surprise, and oh my goodness, something happened. Between Santorum and Paul, Santorum's been rising. He's the sort of the last Republican to have a surge in support this year. But he's now up at 17 or 18%, whereas Paul peaked at about 21 and has fallen to about 18. So what's happening there? And will Santorum use that surge to finish second or to surprise us all and finish first? The other thing is I think Jessica's report earlier pointed out, turnout matters on these things, and that's a real intangible, is knowing how many people are going to turn out, who's really motivated for these candidates.
And not a lot historically have.
It's a really small turnout. Just a little over 100,000 turned out last time, setting a record at, I believe it was 108,000. But it's been as low as 80,000 in the 90s. So we're not talking about a huge turnout. Somebody could get 30,000 votes statewide and still finish in first place here.
Now, we have not heard Herman Cain's name in a long time. Where is he? And I mean, are you surprised at how much fallout?
Well, you know, he's disappeared. He tweeted yesterday that he would come out with an endorsement sometime soon.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I don't know about that. But he's off the scene. I guess he's still on the ballot, but he's been polling, or actually they haven't even bothered to poll him recently.
Well, the race begins, and we'll get the results tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow, and we'll take a look at what it tells us.
We'll see if we were surprised or not.
All right, Charles, thanks. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.